What is going on, Salami Squad? It is your boy, Mike Richman, and I'm in the house with hockey guru, Jimmy Guarini himself. And we're going to just break down this hockey series. We are obviously saw game one of the Stanley Cup Finals, but we got to break down the series a little bit, and we'll get to that game one. So we're going to start things off. We're going to start in the West. We had the Canadiens, obviously, versus the Vegas Golden Knights. Canadiens end up winning this series here 4-2. And for me, the turning point happened after game 4 in game 5. So in game 4, obviously, series is tied 2-2. And then Golden Knights lost game 5 at home and then had to play for their lives on the road and ended up just losing 3-2 in the game. And, end up sending the Canadiens to that SCF right there. So shout out to the Canadiens. You made it. Chance to go get a chip for the boys coming out of Canada. But, it's been the narrative on this show and in my head all season long that these Vegas Golden Knights were going to be the dudes, and they just couldn't get it done here, Jim.
Oh, my goodness. No one in America picked the Canadiens to win in that series, let alone go to the Stanley Cup Final. I'm sure some drunk Canadian guy put some money on the Canadiens, but no one in their right mind would ever bet money on that. That series is it's still replaying in my mind.
Yeah.
Just how incredibly well the Canadiens played against the Golden Knights. And looking back at this series, you're right, the turning point was when it was tied 2-2 and the Canadiens won on the road. I mean, you cannot say enough about that. Winning games on the road in the playoffs, it's such a huge advantage in any sport. But the way I look at that series was the Golden Knights came into that thinking that they have the best pedigree. They have the best players, they have the best coaches. They haven't been out of the playoffs since their creation. Granted, it's been 4 years since they've been in the league, but still, it's been nothing but success for them.
Yeah.
Canadiens have been down bad since '93, since their last cup. They've been nothing but just average to dog shit for the past. Since I've been watching hockey for the past 20 years. So I think that they had, I wouldn't say momentum, but I would say they had inspiration. They had more to lose. Or not even. Take that back. They had nothing to lose. The Golden Knights had a lot to lose because you walk into that series and you think that it's the worst team who made the playoffs from the Canadian side. To put it
favorites.
Yeah, to put it in perspective, they didn't win more games than they lost. The Canadiens, they had more losses than wins in the regular season. The Flyers had more wins than the Canadiens this season.
And here they are, man.
Yeah. Look how the turntables have turned or whatever. But that series was crazy. I really think the key factor to that was the Canadiens. Again, I keep saying they were opportunistic. The last show we talked about how well they took of the opportunities. They took them and they went running with it. So the Golden Knights came into that series. They wanted to play their hockey. They wanted to play slow, strong. They wanted to hit these guys 60-plus times a game. They wanted to get in their face and really crush this smaller in stature Canadiens team. But the Canadiens saw what they were doing, and they flipped the script on them. So what the Canadiens do best, besides goaltending, is breakout passes. And the Golden Knights were really slow on defense. I think that players like McNabb, Alec Martinez, they were a little bit slow reading the plays when they had a breakout. And so the Canadiens were able to get a nice, deep, long puck pass and get a guy like Gallagher or Suzuki or the new stud Cole Caulfield out in a breakaway, and they would finish. I mean, that's so clutch in playoff appearances, is being clutch when it matters most. That's the name of the game in the playoffs or any sport. But the way they finished against Marc-Andre Fleury, the Golden Knights goaltender, who is not to blame for the series. Granted, he didn't play to what I thought he was going to play as, because this was his best year as a goaltender in the league. After winning 3 Stanley Cups with the Penguins, this is his best calendar year in terms of save percentage and goals against average. But it was just taking advantage of a stagnant Golden Knights team who wanted to do what they wanted to do, and they didn't adapt. And I blame that on coaching. Also, a big factor in that series was the top 9 forwards for the Golden Knights. They just didn't produce. Between them, I think they had maybe 4 or 5 points, not goals, points in the entire series. So you're relying on your back 6 guys and your defensemen to score. And that's not a way to win. I mean, the Flyers learned that the hard way. When their top line disappeared, which can happen, The depth just didn't come through. But again, you do need to have your top line scoring, and that just didn't happen in this series. But yeah, I mean, the Canadiens again, they took advantage of a team that thought that they were the best, and they made them pay for it. So go Canadiens, I suppose.
Yeah, all right. Gotta say it. Give them their props. They made it to the final. So we'll go ahead, head on over to the East now. And again, in another series that really surprised me, we had these New York Islanders facing off the defending Tampa Bay Lightning. Lightning, spoiler, end up winning the series here in a Game 7. But we're going to go ahead and pick back up here on Game 5, brother. And we saw a 8-0 blowout. Lightning literally shat upon the Islanders. And I could have swore from that point on it was over. I thought Game 6 they were going to close it out. But Islanders were able to force a Game 7 with a 3-2 W. And then we went into Game 7, bro. It was like nothing happened before.
Yeah.
Both these teams were on overdrive. Absolute nail-biter. 1-0 scoring goal win from Tampa here. I mean, talk about getting your goals when it means the most here.
Yeah.
But I just want to give all the props in the world to the New York Islanders here, man. I thought this was going to be a 4 or 5 game series where the Lightning just blew them out. And, in Game 5, they did kind of put a whooping on them with that 8-0 statement game.
Yeah.
But these Islanders in this series really played significantly better than I thought they would. So forcing a Game 7 on the returning champs or defending champs, that's huge. And obviously, when you get to a Game 7, that could have went either way. Tampa Bay ended up coming out on top. But like I said a couple seconds ago, that was a very, very close one-score game. So shout out New York, man.
Yeah. No, that series was super fun to watch. If you ever want to get into hockey, I recommend rewatching that series.
Classic.
It really speaks to the advantage of home ice and how you're right. After coming back from a 8-0 spanking, like that game, it was like embarrassing to watch. That's one of the games like in the third period, you're turning it off because it's over.
Yeah.
That was a statement win by the Lightning. I think that the Islanders were absolutely shell-shocked. Like, no one expected that because up to that series, throughout the first 4 games, every game could have went either way. Yeah. It really depended on home ice advantage, and every game was competitive, fast, hard-hitting. Every game could have went to each team. It just happened to be different opportunities, whether it be home ice advantage or just momentum swings. Yeah, but that 8-0 destructive game, that really put the Islanders in a tough situation. But again, props to them for going back at Nassau Arena. The last game they're ever going to play in that arena. They're making it a new stadium, so that's gonna. I mean, it's good because they won and they forced the Game 7 and everything. Yeah, but that was again props to them because that's difficult to do. Imagine going back up against those big bullies. And it's a team you lost to last year in the same.
And that's some Disney Channel type shit you're talking about right here. I did not realize that was the last game they're ever going to play in that stadium. And like you said, the team that eliminated them last year, that's a huge Game 6 win. They just couldn't get it done Game 7.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate because again, like you said, it was a nail biter. The goal was scored shorthanded on one mistake by an Islanders player. He put it out on the power play. Put it in the middle of the ice, and the guy got it and just sniped it. That is a heartbreaker. That is so difficult. Not only a 1-goal game, but a short-handed goal. That's like if I were an Islanders fan, I'd be buying the next Jack Daniels. I'd be buying a crate of Jack Daniels and drowning my sorrow. No, but that series was really fun to watch, and it was really enjoyable. I obviously am a Philly fan, and I hate everything about New York and everything about the Islanders. But you got to feel bad for him a little bit, especially seeing Matt Barzal in the post-game interview, like practically crying because it's like you get that close 2 years in a row. And through all the adversity of being a team, the last team in the Eastern Conference to get to the finals, to beat out the first place Penguins, to go against the.
It was a tough road for sure.
Yeah. And it's that road is so tough. And now it's like, what are you going to do with your older players? What are you going to do with Andy Green? What are you going to do with your rentals, Palmieri? They're in a tough spot. I don't think they're going to be bad by any means. Their talent is still young to middle age. They're definitely not an old team, but they're not a super, super young team. I'm not sure about the prospects. I'm not sure if they have any picks to give at this point because they gave up so much for Palmieri and Zajac. But I think that they will still be pretty good. I mean, their coach, Barry Trotz, might be the best in the NHL. He's not going to go down without a fight. If he stays with the Islanders, I give them a chance to go to the playoffs every year. But yeah, I mean, the Lightning just took advantage of that series. Again, that you're right, that 8-0 spanking really turned the tables in that whole series, and go for the Islanders, but the Lightning had taken that 1-7. So it was a very good series, though.
Yeah, and I agree with the point there. It'll be super interesting to see what the Islanders do this offseason, whether they decide to blow that shit up, or honestly, they really are one or two pieces away. Another strong offensive man, another strong defense person. They could be right here in these Stanley Cup Finals, which we are going to get into right now, brother. So Game 1 already happened. Obviously, we got Tampa Bay versus Montreal Canadiens. Lightning end up winning Game 1, 5-1, home court advantage, obviously. So that's a pretty big statement W in Game 1 of the finals. We got Game 2 going on tonight, actually 6:30 at 8 p.m. And, it's very interesting. I got to ride the hype here. I got to give my hand to the Lightning.
Yeah.
But these Canadiens, this postseason run that they've been on, like you said earlier, no one saw this coming. So I do think they're going to force a couple extra games. I think this goes 5 minimum, but most likely 6 or 7. I think this is going to be very competitive hockey all the way through this series. But who do you got to give the edge to someone, Jim? Who you giving it to?
It's got to be the Lightning. The way they play, they have more skill. So the thing, I'm going to compare them to the Golden Knights and why I thought that this series, if the Golden Knights won, would have been so good. Because the Golden Knights have the star power, not the star power to match, but to at least compete with the Lightning. The thing is, though, it's chemistry. So hockey comes down to chemistry. That's why the best team doesn't necessarily win. I mean, obviously, the Canadiens are in the Stanley Cup Final. And so the Lightning are not only probably the best lineup in the NHL in terms of just raw talent, but they've been playing together for at least 5 years minimum.
Dudes being bros.
You can't really name a new player who's been on that team who starts anymore. They bonded. They've been together through the years. We got swept by the Blue Jackets, constant playoff exits, early round exits, and they've been together when they won. So I really wanted to see how the Golden Knights would match up against them, but ipso facto, the Canadiens win. But yeah, I'm going to give the series to the Lightning. I don't know how you can bet against them.
Yeah.
Especially if you watch that game 5-1. That was it wasn't like an 8-0 like the Islanders game, but it was
5-1 hurts.
It was a pretty dominant performance. The Lightning pretty much took advantage of the Canadiens' young nature. When they got in their heads, they were able to push them around, trash talk, get in their heads a little bit and get the anger going and make them make mistakes. But the Lightning, they look faster. They're bigger. They're stronger. The goaltending situation, Vasilevsky might be the next Carey Price. I keep saying that I think he's the best goalie right now. Carey Price on the Canadiens is the best goaltender of our generation. But granted, Vasilevsky is probably 10 years younger than him, maybe 9 or 8 years younger than him. So he has room to be one of the best goalies of all time. The only reason I could see the Canadiens, if there was a chance, I don't think there is, but if there was, it's going to ride on their defense and their goaltending. Their defense is severely underrated. They're all fast, they're all strong, and they're all really smart, led by Shea Weber, a great defenseman, one of my favorite players in the league. Very classy. He loves the game. He's a huge, bulky individual, but he's fast and he's smart with the puck. Their defense, like I said, they're underrated, and their goaltending, they're going to have to rely on that a lot. But yeah, I don't think that this will be a sweep. I mean, I don't think it's ever been a sweep in the finals. It'd be crazy if it happened.
Nuts.
But it, like what I said, this was like you said, it was a statement win. I think that the Canadiens are going to learn a lot. And what I said, it was early, they're opportunistic. I think they're going to adapt really well, and they're going to try to maybe get a squeaky, greasy win. Because Carey Price is so good, he'll steal him a game. And so if they can get one game, maybe on the road, I think this series takes
a turn. Huge.
Yeah, but it's the Lightning are just so damn good. It's it's so hard to bet against them. But yeah, I can't really hate on them because, like I said earlier, they've been playing together for so long. They didn't buy a team. Yeah. They don't go big in free agency. They haven't had like stellar draft picks besides like Kucherov and Point and like the star players they've had, but they got them years ago. And so, and they've been good for so long, and they're just finally starting to reach the potential. Good for them. I'm not angry about that at all. Usually, I'm a guy who hates the top dog. I want to see him fall, and the only reason I would like to see them fall is because I want to see Carey Price win a cup. But at the same time, I don't think unless Carey Price can start stealing games and the Lightning just fall off, I don't see the Canadiens taking this one. So I see Lightning in 5.
Oh, you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Jimmy G said the Lightning in 5, and I can't say I hate that. I'm going to just counter with Lightning in 6 because just to the point you said, I do think this Canadiens team just very opportunistic, like you said, but as well as just their ability to adapt. They see what's open, and they take what you're giving them.
Yeah.
So I do think they end up sneaking 2 games here, but in the overall scheme of things, I 100% agree. I don't think they're going to win this thing, but we're going to just let it play out. We're going to see how it happens. Within the next 10 to 11 days, there will be a Stanley Cup winner. So that is very exciting. It's been a great NHL season. Had a great time covering it for the boys and girls at home. But we're going to keep you updated after a couple more games happen. So peep in, check NHL Twitter, see them games live. It is the finals, people. Let's get that viewership up, boys. All right. But with that being said, Salami Squad,
Perfect.